When you're a large car collector and a Maharaja, it comes as no surprise if you have a couple of high-powered AMGs in your collection. Some people have maybe 3 or 4. The Maharaja of Gondal has 9. And since we have all 9 of them together, why not rev them all in sync like a symphony? The sound of high-performance V8s, the deep-chested growl shaking the ground, hitting us in our chest. The AMG Philharmonic Orchestra, what a beautiful noise. Coming up, we're going to hear the story of each car, how Himanshu acquired them, and later we're going to drive some of these icons back to back. So why does Himanshu, the Maharaja of Gondal, have 9 AMGs? But why speculate? Let's just ask him.
Well, I love V8, American V8s from my childhood.
Correct.
And Mercedes also, and I used to modify American engines, the V8s to up to 300, 400 horsepower in my childhood. And then I thought that this is the perfect combination. You have a Mercedes and a high horsepower V8 inside it.
So it came together nicely. The first AMG the Maharaja of Gondal bought was the CLS. Now Himanshu's collection of AMGs started with this, and tell me if I'm right, AMG wasn't in India when you bought this car, right?
The AMG wasn't here in India.
The problem was the fuel. Mercedes and AMG couldn't guarantee the performance of the CLS AMG on our fuel.
We had some exchange of letters.
Okay.
And finally, I managed to convince them, and I had to give a little kind of an indemnity about the performance on the performance side because of our fuel quality in those days. So I thought this was the best car, and still today also the best shape I like of the CLS is of this car.
When you bought this car, did you ever imagine that you will have 9 of them eventually, 9 AMGs?
No, never. I actually thought this will be the car, and I don't know whether I will be buying another one.
How many kilometers have you put on?
I've got about something like 70,000 kilometers on
70,000.
70,000.
And you have a huge number of cars to choose from. So you really, truly like this car.
Even though, even today also, I love this car.
And this would be the first 63 in India?
This would be the first 63 in India.
Can you see the size of the engine? That's the head, and it goes all the way the other side. And this is the other head, that big. And of course, these are the inlet runners. And let's take a listen. Quite different from the sports cars. Let's go to the back. And just as Himanshu was saying, a lot smoother. Like a lion calling out. This, ladies and gentlemen, is AMG's famous 6.2 litre engine, the M156. That comes with a 6.3 badge. And remember, 6.3 is very different from 63, as confusing as that sounds. The M156 was also the first engine designed by AMG from scratch. A version of that engine, the M159, a dry sump version, also powers cars like the SLS and the SLS Roadster. And that's where we're heading next.
This was the first car made by AMG. A fully, total car made, manufactured by AMG. And the whole car was on a blank sheet of paper. And it was a success. It's got the power, and you can even slide the car from the back. Which was, everyone's fantasy when they're in the teens, to buy an American car and screech the wheels and get a drift and all that, which was also possible in this.
What's it like on longer distances? Because you told me recently that you've not put too many kilometers on this, and now you said it's
26,000 kilometers.
So obviously you're a driver.
But
you're a person who drives.
I drive it. The first time when I took delivery of this car in Mumbai, and I drove it down here, this car really, when I reached Gondal, I thought I wish the journey was a little longer. I mean, it wasn't
Carry
that,
on.
oh, now I'm tired. It's
Yeah.
almost 760 kilometers.
Yeah.
And took me about 11 hours because I was running in the car.
Correct. and this car is how old exactly
This
now?
is 2010. It's almost 15 years now.
It's almost 50. It
And
doesn't feel like it. It
one of
still
the-
looks fresh and new.
One of the first cars in India. So,
Awesome.
and I bought it in the spur of the moment. I mean, when they launched it in Delhi,
Correct.
and I was invited there in the evening for the launch.
Correct.
And as soon as I saw the car, I said, one for me, I said, and immediately I got the car.
Fantastic.
Time to start it up.
To the back. Let's take a listen from here. It's just so much tighter, so much more forceful, so much more direct.
Now for another SLS, the Cabriole. Yes, the Maharaja of Gondal has two.
And after getting the SLS, the Gullwing, this is the next car. I think you couldn't resist getting this one because it's a sister car to your 300SL, the original 300SL Cabriolet, right?
Yeah, that's right. And actually, even the Gullwing, the original Gullwing, and then the 300SL was a much more comfortable car than the Gullwing.
And do you use this a lot, or this is the one that gets the least use?
No, I use this, especially more in winters, when the climate is good and, it's cool outside. We've got very lovely roads here around, and so that's why, mostly I prefer this because the Gullwing, I would keep it more as a collector's car where I wouldn't like to put a lot of mileage on, and at the same time, when you are inside the Gullwing, for our roads, this is a much more comfortable car.
Correct.
Last time I went to Dwarka, which is over Porbandar.
Correct.
It's about 260 kilometers, and there's a lovely road, a coastal road.
Correct.
And cruising there, at 100, 120,
With the top down.
with
Lovely.
the top down.
Lovely.
And no traffic, nothing, and it's the latest coastal road in Gujarat. So basically, it's a four-lane road now,
Okay.
and hardly any traffic.
This is the same 571 horsepower, 6.3 litre naturally aspirated V8. This is the famous one, and look how far back it is. That's where the engine is starting, almost behind the front wheel. Let's start it up and listen to what it sounds like. Let's go to the back. Let's go to the back. Take a listen to that.
And from this to the modern GT, the open top. Looks absolutely stunning in red, just like his original 300SL.
And what is it that, made you say, I'll buy the convertible? Of course, it is the 300, but any other reasons for that? Is it more usable?
One of the reasons, at that time I had the Gullwing.
Correct.
And I didn't have a Roadster that time.
Correct.
And this was the car which
Closest
after the SLS, the GT
Correct.
came out.
Correct.
And which was more of a road-friendly car. And I said, what's the point of buying the same GT coupe
Correct.
instead of and have another car? So I said, this will be a little bit different. Completely, this has a different personality than the SLS. This, you feel comfortable with the power, with the torque, the comfort.
Correct.
And very comfortable.
Does this car get a lot of use? Do you use it a lot?
Oh yes, last year I took it to Udaipur.
Correct.
And it was a joy to drive it.
Fantastic. It's so nice to hear that someone is actually using these cars for long distance. Most of them are parked in garages. They do 5 kilometers in the city.
Let me tell you one thing. The cars which I have and which I buy, I see to it that they do what they can.
Correct.
It's not for just for show.
You use the potential of the car.
I use the potential of the car. Those Rajasthan hills, going through those hills.
Absolutely. That road up.
Yeah. It was fantastic. All those twisty roads and
the open car
lovely feeling.
Exhaust. But this exhaust note is not nearly as good as the naturally aspirated one.
Not at all. Especially being a turbo.
So this is the 4-litre twin turbo with the two turbos in the hot V between the two cylinder banks inside the hot V.
the two turbos, and that here is the shield for the turbo. This is so that the heat can escape, and that's the heat shield that dissipates the heat and prevents it from frying the bonnet when these turbos get really hot. Let's start it up and see what it sounds like. Yeah, it's definitely not as loud, but I think we can ratchet out. We can make it louder, right?
Yeah, we can make it louder, yeah.
That's also pretty good. And now the sportier one. That's nice. That's nice. Very different.
And on to some larger SUVs.
Now, when it comes to SUVs, I think this is your favorite, right?
This is my favorite because it's very comfortable. It's got 525 horsepower,
Correct.
Big weight.
And it's also got this 5.5.
Yes, it's a 5.5 twin turbo.
Yeah.
V8.
It's almost 6 liters. People
and
don't
a
realize.
lovely sound it has because it's got a long exhaust pipe, so it's got a lovely sound, and it can accommodate 7 people, and especially for our roads, you know, many
Correct.
places where there are bad roads, I can take this.
And you of course have a G-Wagon, but it's a recent purchase, and why so late?
Because I'm a real petrol head, and I didn't want an electric hybrid car. Yeah, so this was one of the last ones, you know. So I said it's now the right time to buy this car.
And amongst your 9, this is the only 4-cylinder. You have 8
That's the only
V8s.
4-cylinder. This is another car, and the 4-cylinder also is made by AMG. So I wanted a little variation, and it's a town car. You know, whenever I like to go in the city,
Correct.
I use this car.
Okay.
Now for 2 icons.
And Himanshu, you have another 5.5 twin turbo V8, and it's in a more traditional AMG package. Of course, the sedan is what they started with. So 2 of these.
Yeah, this I got it because it doesn't have much electronics in this car, and it's got the same engine as my GL63, the twin turbo, almost 6 liters.
Correct.
So it really gives a very good driving pleasure to a person who really loves driving. You know. Newer one, of course, I mean, it was much superior, and you know, it's very quick because it's an all-wheel drive, or 4-wheel drive, you may say, and it's got a drift mode where you can disengage the front axle completely.
Correct.
And almost it's 612 bhp, so a lot of power in this, and very quick, very quick.
Do you do a lot of road driving with this?
I do a lot of road driving in this. It's a pleasure to drive this. Very comfortable, more like an S-Class.
Correct.
More like an S-Class with the power, and it's not so large as an S-Class. So it's very nice to...
Very perfect package.
Very perfect package, all-rounder.
Yeah.
So that rounds off what has to be a very unique collection. One full to the brim with exceptional V8 engines. But before we go, some quality time in the cars and a unique chance to drive a select few back to back. First up, the 2 cabriolets, the SLS and the GT.
Now this is the GOAT, probably the greatest engine Mercedes made. 6.3 liters naturally aspirated, a whip crack of an exhaust, instant responses. I'm tapping the throttle here. Look at that. Incredible, and a strong top end as well. Let's give it a real nice run. Whoa! My God. And what makes it so much better is that soundtrack, that genuine V8, the exhaust draw, the induction. Fabulous. Let's listen to that engine once more.
Now let's contrast that with the 4-liter turbocharged GT.
Now this is the 4-liter twin turbo, the modern day engine, and getting into this car straight after the SLS, after the 6.3 naturally aspirated big engine. This one doesn't seem to have that same bottom end response. It's not as crisp, it's not as immediate, and when I tap the throttle, it sort of takes its time to get going.
The violent response, the immediacy of that 6.3 engine when you tap the throttle, it just isn't there.
Yes, and then of course with the turbos blowing, performance is really strong and you get this great overrun.
While the mid-range is there, performance in the top end also slopes off.
And it doesn't quite have that top end of the SLS, especially the willingness to rev.
Just goes to show the modern classics are just so much more immersive and engaging.
And now we experience what the 6.3 feels like in this larger, heavier body. And yes, immediately you can tell that that torque and response is there. And whoa, this one feels like it has longer legs than the sports cars, longer gearing. So it gives that V8 an opportunity to pull harder for longer. Wow. And that's still at 6,000 RPM. We still have some way to go. Let's check out this stretch. Oh my God, this is insanely quick. And I can see why Himanshu got this car. This was his first AMG and I still think he's got a soft spot for this one.
Next up, Himanshu's favorite, the GLS with the big 5.5 litre twin turbo.
Now this is a 5.5 litre twin turbo V8. That's almost 6 litres. It's a large engine with two big turbos and it's sort of ideal for this car, for a car of this size. And even as I'm driving along at around 1500 RPM, there's a beautiful gurgle from the back, and every time I flex my foot even slightly, it just moves forward immediately. Now we're doing around 3000 RPM and I can really feel the tug. And for an SUV of this size, to be able to do that is fabulous. What it can also do once you're on the right part of the power band is pull like that. Whoa! No wonder this engine was so popular at the time. Huge urge and a delicious soundtrack from the back, despite the fact that it has two turbos in the way.
Known as the M157, this 5.5 twin turbo delivered both large capacity thrills and turbo boost in the same package.
I can sort of see why Himanshu likes this car so much. You have this delicious V8, all the power flowing through, space, comfort, luxury. It's got the whole package. And yes, this engine really is something special.
What a collection and what a set of AMGs. And to be able to pick and choose which to drive, wow, what a privilege.